This is an area on the Delaware River, just east of downtown Philadelphia and close to the historic district, that has a maritime museum, Independence Seaport Museum, and 2 or 3 historic boats and or submarines tied up for visiting, and general recreational area. There's a boardwalk, which is what I'm heading to here, and that's where the ships are tied up or moored. It's another rainy day with the hurricane activity in the area. I'm trying to keep the rain from blowing into the camera lens. There's supposed to be a, I can see it there, a sailing ship that's set up as a restaurant, and I was thinking that might be a good place to go. Don't see too many people around, but hopefully it's open. They apparently consider this to be a boardwalk, although boards are not in evidence. They have these big hammocks here. This is this immediate area is called the Spruce Street Harbor Park. Keating's Rope and Anchor Bar and Kitchen. So that's an option. There's a couple of barges here that are tied up, and I've read that you can rent those for parties or riverside dinners or whatever, but they don't go anywhere. They're just essentially docks. The line starts here. Okay. I do plan to visit these places, assuming they're open. It looks like there's people walking around on them. The Olympia, it's an old cruiser. Looks like World War I vintage. And a submarine. Supposedly the cruiser and the submarine are part of the Independence Seaport Museum, not separate attractions. So this Masted ship here is the Mushulu, or Moshulu. I'm going with Mushulu. Looks like there's a naval ship set up on the other side. That would be the New Jersey side of the Delaware River. I doubt I'm going to have time to go over there, assuming it's open. Well, as it turns out, I got here too late for lunch, and now they're not serving anything until dinner. So, just a little ways down here is I think it's a Hilton Hotel. We looked at that before. That bridge in the distance, I think that's the Benjamin Franklin Bridge. It's a really tall last step for some reason. Okay, typical submarine that's been opened up for tourists. Have a opening that was carved in later. It's not part of the original structure. Well, I'm going to do this one backwards. For a change, start at the rear and move forwards. So this is the after torpedo room. As usual, they've got the bunks squeezed in next to the torpedoes. Including the fold-out beams that are used to make the conveyor that'll roll the torpedoes around. And this would be a forward escape hatch. And I think this over here is for sending out buoys and messages and things without having to surface. I like this, they've got the cutaway of the propulsive and at least the propulsive system. They're pumping air through here at a pretty good rate. It actually gets windy in the hatches here, or the gangways, whatever those are called. So this is the electrical control room. This is very much like the USS Silversides that I saw about a year ago in Michigan. I'll have to look in to see if they're in the same family. This is all electrical stuff here. So these subs are diesel electrics, so the actual propulsion comes from the electric motors, and then the diesels can provide power through generators for those when they're on the surface. Otherwise they run on batteries, and the batteries will all be down below the floor here. Now, I should have mentioned that this submarine's called the Becuna. You can't really see in there, but engine room, or after engine room. This is the forward engine room. Pretty much just like the one we were just in. Some small differences in layout. And then they have the evaporator distillers here, which I'm not sure, but I think they have to do with providing fresh water. And then you've got the crew habitat here with this is the crew washroom, first aid stuff. I think there may be a shower back there, a couple of sinks, and a couple of heads. The crew's head. And then of course you've got the crew's bunk here. And of course there's a hatch down to the after battery down there. And then into the galley and crew's mess. A lot of places to bang your legs on these things when you come in here. Have to be kind of nimble to avoid that thing when you're sliding in and out. Lots of hatches in the walls to access various equipment. No space is wasted, kind of like my house. And this is the primary crew access here. This is where they would normally come in and out, go forward or backwards. So this is the remainder of the galley here.
You got a mixer and everything in here. Mm-hmm. How long did they stay on here like that?
And this is the radio room. And this is the bridge area with the red lights on, which is not the normal way it would be, of course, but that's the way it would be if they're planning on surfacing during the night and they want everybody's eyes to be more or less adjusted. There's a equipment area down there. Not sure if that's supposed to be the compass or what, but all the bow plane controls, stern planes, all the basic controls for operating the boat. So this is the executive part, the ship's office. Just a little filing area and typewriter and some books, manuals and so on, I suppose. Yeoman's shack. The Chief Petty Officer quarters. Looks like it can accommodate 5 people. And a base in there that would fold down from the wall. So yeah, Chief Petty Officer's quarters and 4 other guys. Or ladies if you're going with the, what was that World War II comedy sub movie? I can't think of it. The junior officer quarters. Looks like 3 bunks and closets and so on. Bit of a desk. Captain's quarters. Not very large or luxurious, but way better than everybody else gets. It says captain's stateroom, but that's a closet. Obviously they mean the captain's quarters here. Has his own basin. And this is the officer's mess. And the senior officer's quarters, accommodating 4 men.
I'm not getting in there. Yeah, you don't have to. Nope, I'm gonna have to. Yeah. Okay, we'll get in the shower. Oh god. Oh god. So this is what they had to stand in.
I'll get out of your way so you can keep going there.
Yep. So an old shower is useful after all. No matter how.
This would be the officer's shower.
Hey, wanna take a
I choose to be perverse and go the wrong direction through the submarine.
There always is someone.
Every other sub I go the other direction. I decided to mix it up.
Well, it's confusing. They tell you to go that way, and you get down there and it says exit, do not enter.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they don't tell you to come this way and go down and go into the ship.
Well, I also
we
saw.
went through the ship
Right.
first. And then,
Yeah.
so,
Well, I saw the sign for audio tour too, and when I paid my ticket, they didn't give me any headphones or anything.
did you pay for the audio too?
They didn't mention it at all. I didn't see anything until I got up here that there was something. So they didn't say, "Oh, you have to pay extra." They just.
Because I think that was another $2.
Well, I know what I'm doing in a sub. I've been in so many.
Were you a submariner?
No, I just like submarines.
Well, I think they were all fairly similar
Yeah.
until you got up into the nuclear ones.
All right. All right. So I've had my backwards ship tour here. All right. Although I did come in and out of the same hatch, I think. Yeah, I walked to the back and then came back forwards again. Well, that was unusual. I didn't capture it in the video, but as I was going through the sub, there was a whole bunch of Amish fellas going through. Here's one of them coming out now.
So we'll follow the arrows.
This is ready.
So this is a warship.
Yeah.
344.
Well, it is a warship, and there's a cannon. Apparently this is part of the crew's accommodation and their mess, and it still has some guns and a coal chute or two coming in there. Band room. I wonder if that refers to a band that would be on the ship or some other kind of band. Got a piano. Looks like washing facilities, or fireman's washroom. Oh yeah, filthy job for the guys working on the boiler and engine. Required to scrub themselves in their clothing before they could return to the berth deck. Lots of ash chutes and coal chutes along the side. Coal bunker. And it's all wooden decking too. More ash hoists. Pat and Irwin went to the sick bay on Sunday. Monday, the band is on the bum. 6 on the 6 list. Yeah, so he was a ship musician. He's referring to the band. So he's saying that 6 of the band are on the sick list. Squire and Wayne went to the sick bay. 8 on the sick list now. Thursday, sick bay. Moved to fireman's quarters. Friday, Flannery and the printer went to sick bay. Saturday, Martin is pretty sick. Sunday, Martin, the Admiral's steward, died at 2 o'clock this morning with the flu. Tuesday, Martin's body is taken ashore and embalmed. Ham goes to the sick bay. Wednesday, the printer died, also a Filipino mess cook. Both doctors are sick. Your doctor came aboard, another Filipino pretty sick. Yeah. Sick bay. More guns. This is the laundry. We're way up at one end of the ship. This would be the general head here. Bunch of toilet seats in a communal arrangement. The surgery. And the dispensary or pharmacy. Look down. You can see many decks down below. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 decks below us at least. Another ash hoist. This one opened up. It's just a bucket of ash on a winch. Officer wardroom, pantry, paymaster, and you cannot go downstairs here. We're at the other end of the ship now. Looks like these are all accommodations. There's no signage saying what they are. Obviously, officers' quarters. Officer's washroom, Officer's bath. I would say it's just a shower, but I don't think they had a bathtub in there. The officer's head. Looks like 3, maybe 4 side by side. So this is going to be up in the bow, I'm pretty sure. Usually the officers are forward.
It was built by the Union Iron Works in San Francisco,
Oh,
1892.
when is it gonna start moving?
I think it's gonna move now.
We have to follow
Here we go.
the arrow. Papa, this way!
1895, decommissioned in 1922.
Okay.
Yeah, it says follow the blue arrow.
Protected cruiser flagship, 344 feet long, 53 feet wide at the extreme breadth. Draft of 22 feet on an average. Displaced 5,870 tons. 2 vertical triple expansion steam engines, 2 propellers, 6 coal-fired boilers. Guaranteed to do just under 22 knots. Auxiliary sail rig. It's a 2-mast schooner, setting 6 sails. Complement of 40 officers, 390 men. 4 8-inch guns on turrets, 10 5-inch guns, 14 6-pounder guns, 6 1-pounder guns, 4 45-70 caliber Gatling guns, 6 above-water torpedo tubes. Sloped steel protective deck, 2-inch to 4 3/4-inch thick plate. So I've been off tour so far. Now I'm going to follow the blue arrows.
And spend time together.
Already done most of this, but I want to get back on track for the recommended route. Figure out where these arrows are going. Okay, that goes through there, then it comes back, so now I'm going up. It's a big tripping hazard here, gotta watch yourself. Here's some heavier guns. I guess it's nice that these are indoors, huh? The ice machine compartment. How about that? Steam-powered machine refrigerated the neighboring walk-in storage room. One of the first U.S. Navy ships to have this innovation, which improved the quality and diversity of the crew's meals. This is a 5-inch 51 deck gun, whatever that means. 5-inch diameter round, weighed 50 pounds, and was shot up to 10 miles with a 25-pound bag of smokeless gunpowder. 9 rounds could be fired in 1 minute. Food preparation. This looks like the galley. Looks like there's a opening up above to the top deck, probably for ventilation. I would say they have some leaks here. Bake ovens. This is labeled as the crew library. Admiral's pantry, Admiral's head and bath. Actually, it has a bathtub, and we're not allowed to go forward here. Maybe more stuff for the Admiral. This is the flagship, after all, the Admiral's cabin and stateroom. Since it's the flagship, it would have the Admiral on it. Well, the arrow says to go up here, but it says no going up. This is the captain's cabin and stateroom on this side. And yeah, he's got his own gun. Good deal. And the captain's head and bath. Much like the Admiral's, but smaller. A lot of dripping going on in here. Captain's pantry. Water dripping in from the boards, which I presume just make up the deck above, not waterproofed. Captain's office. The armory. This is where they kept the small arms and swords, it looks like. Critical preservation work aboard the cruiser Olympia has been financed in part with federal funds from the National Maritime Heritage Program, administered by the National Park Service, U.S. Department of the Interior. And we are conducted back outside again. It looks like they're not allowing anybody upstairs. There didn't seem to be any place to do that from. So we'll call it quits. Yep, the guy who was selling the tickets said because of the weather they're not allowing people up on the outdoor decks today. Too much slippery stuff. Doesn't look like there's that much to see anyway up there. Because we were in the area that's painted brown there. I like the way they've got the old-fashioned windows in the officers' areas, wooden windows and everything, as opposed to what they've got in the cruise areas there for the same thing. But they still shoot big guns. indoor museum. This is the Penn's Landing Marina. Most of it down there. And then of course the ships we just came from. Looks like some sort of an ocean liner down there. I have no idea which one. A container ship or a tanker. Looks like a battleship. I'm not sure which one. Across there is the aquarium. Bridge. And the sled is coming in horizontally. Gotta get indoors. This is the frigate Alliance model thereof. this model of a Xebec. That's X-E-B-E-C, Xebec. Is a type of ship favored by the pirates of Algiers as a perfect hunter. Its long, narrow hull and or sail propulsion made it fast, agile, and easy to maneuver. However, its large sails made it especially vulnerable to cannon attack, so it avoided large warships and preyed on slower, weaker vessels, like American merchant ships. This is a sails pitch for a warship. Joshua Humphreys hoped this half model of a planned warship would win him a contract from the Continental Congress to build the real thing at his Philadelphia shipyard. Unfortunately, the year he carved it, 1777, the British overtook and occupied the city, putting an end to his plans. So the whole thing looks like it's mostly just carved out of solid wood. Winching the masts into place in a shipyard. As the second of the Navy's 6 frigates, the USS Constitution, shown here, was modeled on the first frigate, the United States. Constitution's many wins in the War of 1812 would gain it a loyal following. Its name would surpass that of her sister ship. But the United States, made and launched in Philadelphia in 1797, would always be the first. This is a model of the Pennsylvania, authorized by Congress in 1816. It would be the largest sailing ship ever built by the U.S. Navy. It had 4 decks, was 210 feet long, boasted 36 guns, carried a crew of 1,100. It was a beast of a warship built to project power and protect the American coastline from invasion. This is a bridge section from the guided missile destroyer USS Lawrence. It's a representation of a bridge of that type of ship. Lots of nice models, but those behind glass are too hard to get good pictures of. Ship Model Shack of the Philadelphia Ship Model Society. Little Dremel table saw, how about that? Very cute. Workshop on the water. So they've got that little boat shop there. Philadelphia, as it looked in 1680 through approximately 1750. Old and new navigation equipment. A dredging ship. They have a bit of a library back there, and a gallery of various old boats. There's old outboard motors by Alto, a senior speedster, a Johnson Seahorse, and an Evinrude, something or another. This is the Myth. It's a New Jersey catboat built in 1889 and rebuilt in the 1930s, one of the few surviving cats of her type. The catboats of the New Jersey shore evolved to work in the bays and rivers behind the barrier islands. Little is known of the type prior to the Civil War, but they are believed to be descendant of the New York oyster boats. So there's a lot less upstairs than there is downstairs. Well, I wouldn't consider the museum itself to be a must-see attraction, but coupled with the submarines, or the submarine and the cruiser next to it, it makes a nice combined attraction.